So in number 8, they're saying that when you take this function machine and you put an x right here, you're supposed to do this to it. Does it matter in which order machines do their processes? Like, should a coffee maker heat up the beans, then mix it with water, and then grind them? See, I have a coffee machine that grinds the beans. You know, they have those now that they grind them. Would that be smart? Should it heat up the beans, then mix those whole beans with water, and then grind that muddy mess? No, the order matters, right? Otherwise, you would have chaos in the machines that you use. So with math, we need order as well, so we know what to do in what order. We learned about that a long time ago, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So when you put something here, let's say it's this blob, all right? What do you do to that blob first? Square it, then times 3, then add 1. Okay. So they want us to put a 0 in the machine. I want you to always, for the rest of your life, when you square stuff in math, whatever math class you're in, I want you to always remember to give it the protection of parentheses. Every number that you go to square, we're kind of, as a society, starting to be dependent on the calculator a little more. Sorry. All right. Sorry for you. But you're supposed to, like, put stuff in parentheses to square them. So what's 0 squared times 3 plus 1? 1. So that's 1. Good? The next one says, plug -2 into the machine. This is where it's important. So important to give the input, the number going in and being squared, the protection of parentheses. If you don't give it the protection of parentheses, the calculator thinks that -2 squared is -4. When we all know that -2 squared means -2 times itself, which must turn it positive. So that's correct. You have to have the parentheses if you're going to rely on the calculator. Here it does 2 squared, which is 4, and then makes it negative because it doesn't have the human brain behind it, thinking of what you want it to do. All right? We know that it should be -2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12 plus 1 is 13. This is supposed to be 13. If you have -11 on your paper, you did it wrong. You thought -2 squared was -4. Please change it. Please correct that moving forward. Don't just change it on your paper right now and say, I'll forget this when we get to the next test. Okay? Finally, we have, I'm going to jump down to D, all right? Because that's the one where they want to know the input that produces the output, 13. I think we already know one of the answers. What do you put in to produce 13? -2 is one answer, but there's another. +2 works as well. Here's why. They want to know what goes here to produce 13. So we're going to undo the order of operations. Instead of squaring and multiplying by 3 and adding 1, we're going to do those in reverse. Take away 1. What do you get? 12. Instead of multiplying by 3, divide by 3. And what do you get? 4. Instead of squaring x, you're trying to undo it by square rooting. And when you square root to solve an x squared equation, you have to give me both the positive and negative square root of 4. You should have 2 answers for 8 D, positive 2 and negative 2. If you don't, you missed half the problem. There are two answers. If we think about it in terms of a graph, we want to know when this parabola, 3x squared plus 1, equals what y value? 13. That would be a horizontal line if you graphed it. Well, how many times does it hit? Twice. Once at positive 2, once at negative 2.